So, what does that word say up there? Echo. Gotta be the echo. You gotta echo it back, you know. Echo. Not bad. First service did it better, but it's okay. I can give you guys one more chance if you want. Echo. All right. So we are talking about things. We're about Easter. We are diving into our Easter series. We are in the middle of it right now. We are on Palm Sunday today. Good Easter Sunday is next Sunday also, and we were talking about the things that Jesus said, his final moments on earth, and we're talking about very, very important things that he said that we want to remember in our lives today, that we want to echo in our hearts today. And today we're going to talk about our feelings. Talk about our feelings today. Not like that. We're going to be talking about our feelings for today, okay? Because I do want to talk to you guys about a strength that I have, okay? I took a little test online, and there's a strength and a weakness that people have, right? So my strength, one of my biggest strengths was called harmony. Now, it's not like harmony like the, like not like that. No, I'm not obsessed. I can't do that. But my strength of harmony means keeping peace, right? I like to keep peace. I like to make sure that there's no conflict and that things always go smoothly, right? Harmony. That's my strength. But with every strength, there also comes a weakness. Now, my weakness is actually confrontation. Because I don't like conflict, like I said. I like to keep the peace. I'd rather not confront people. Even if it hurts my feelings, even if I'm angry, or even if I need to figure things out, I don't like to confront. So I don't like to talk about my feelings. And that's what I want to talk about today, our feelings. Now, I want to share with you guys a really bad pet peeve of mine, okay? This is a really bad pet peeve. I'm kind of ashamed of this. My pet peeve is, you guys ever go on to do a certain chore, you're about to do something, and when you're about to do that thing, someone tells you, yeah, go do that. And it's like, I was just about to go wash the dishes, and then your brother tells you, yeah, go wash the dishes. You're like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I was about, that's my pet peeve. Being told to do something that I'm either literally doing or I'm just about to do, in that moment. And I'm just being told, I was like, why? So, this past Thursday, I had a bad moment. Sorry, past Wednesday, I had a bad moment. I'm not proud of this, okay? My oldest sister, Hannah, we were buying tickets for the Passion Play, again, because, tickets are selling out fast. So I'm talking to my mom, like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to buy these tickets right now. And my sister, Hannah, goes, as I say, oh, yeah, I'm about to buy tickets right now, and I'm scrolling, about to open up my phone, she's like, yeah, go buy the tickets right now. And the moment she said that, I looked at her. And guys, never talk to your sister this way. But the moment I saw it, when I heard that, I was like, what do you think I'm doing, just staring at my phone? And the moment I released from my mouth, the look on her face, it said it all. I was like, oh, boy, no, I shouldn't have done that. And she was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. She backed off. I felt awful, and I apologized. I did apologize. And she's like, no, it's okay. I was like, no, it's not right. I'm sorry. And we took it back. But I noticed my feelings, they got all pent up, and I kind of got communicated in a very bad way. Now, you guys have probably already seen movies where people are holding in their feelings or their dreams of what they want to do. You guys ever seen High School Musical before? Yeah, High School Musical, yes, the GOAT movie, the greatest, not playing. But there was that one scene, stick to the stuff, the status quo. And there's a girl that wants to be a hip-hop dancer, and there's a guy who wants to be a chef, and there's all these different things, right? It's they're holding in their feelings, and they're dealing with a hard time, right? And one thing I noticed is, we all sometimes hide our true feelings. Sometimes we try to hide how we feel, we try to hold it in, and it pents up inside of us. And even for guys, now where are my guys? Let me see the hands for the guys. How many guys do we have here? We have a good bunch of guys today. Even for guys, I notice it's even harder to share your feelings. For me, it's gross. It's I don't want to talk about my feelings. It's either just to when I'm frustrated with someone, it's either just to throw hands or just to push them than it is to tell them, hey, that hurt my feelings. And I know that. Now, I don't know how many of us guys relate to that. And it's we want to be tough, we want to hide how we feel. Now, we've all hid how we felt before. And some of us still do. Maybe we just don't understand our feelings. And instead of just breaking it down, we just rather avoid our feelings and avoid talking about it. Because we don't really want to deal with those feelings because it just doesn't make any sense. It's just too complicated, it's too nitty-gritty. Maybe we're just scared of judgment. Maybe we're scared of being called weak or emotional or all these different kinds of things just because you're sharing how you're feeling with someone. Maybe you just don't want it to become a big deal. One time I shared with someone, hey, you know what, that thing that you said to me, it was part of conversation. I was like, yeah, that actually hurt my feelings, it affected me. And the way they were like, oh, Emmy, I'm so sorry, man, and the way they did that, I was like, no, like, hey, it's not a big deal. Because I didn't want to seem emotional. I didn't want to make it seem like a big deal, my feelings. And also just being vulnerable, it's difficult. It's gross. I'm just like, no, I don't want to share my emotions with people. I'd rather just keep that in. And one thing I noticed is we also hold back on God too, though. The same way we hold back on other people, we hold back with God. Maybe some of you guys feel like it's wrong to ask God certain questions. Like, can I ask God about how I'm feeling about these things, or if I'm angry with God about something, am I allowed to question him? Maybe some of you guys are wondering if God even cares about your problems in the first place. Why does he want to hear my problems when there's so much starvation in the world, when there's so many things going wrong? Maybe some of you guys are wondering if he's even there in the first place. Like, who am I talking to? And that's okay, and that's why we're here today. We're still figuring these things out. And I'm glad you guys are here if that's you. And some of us might have gone through difficult times in our lives, are going through it, or will go through hard times that are just so hard to talk about with people. And that might include talking to God about it too. It's just too hard to talk about. And we end up feeling mad, confused, hurt, disconnected from God and from people. And one thing I noticed, come on down right here. One thing I noticed is when we start keeping in these feelings instead of dealing with it, it just starts piling up, and we deal with more anger, more frustration, more confusion, more all these different things, right? And while you're doing all this kind of stuff, let me say it real quick. One day, on the wrong day, someone catches you. You just burst, you let it all out. You can't handle it properly. But there has to be a better way to deal with our feelings. There has to be a better way to deal with how we're working through these things. Because if we don't deal with it the right way and we avoid talking about it, we can get sick. We can get depressed. We can get angry. Like I said, and we might even burst. And it's a tiring method to hold our feelings in, to not talk to God about it, just to hold it all in. So we're going to talk about one of Jesus' final moments before he died on the cross. Jesus knew it was going to happen. He knew it was going to come. He knew he was going to be arrested, beaten, tortured, put on a cross to die for our sins, and he knew he was going to come back to life again. He knew. But before all that, he had one final thing to happen. And that's why we celebrate Easter. Now, I want us to think, how was Jesus before he died? How was Jesus before all these things happened? How was he? In my mind, I used to think, man, he just put on a superhero cape, and he was like, it's time to do this. It's time to die. Like, it's time to go through these things. He just kind of just went right in with it. That's what I thought. But when we actually dive into the story, Jesus had a really honest prayer to God. And he took his disciples to a mountain called Gethsemane. And when he took them there, he went even deeper into the garden, and he went alone to pray. And this is the prayer that he said. And let's read this together. You guys want to read the yellow words for me, okay? It says this. Father, if you are willing, please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine. Now, what was Jesus saying in this prayer? It's very metaphorical, right? It's a lot of metaphors. Jesus didn't just go up to God and go, hey God, you know what? Don't worry, I got this handled. Let's do this. Jesus didn't act like he wasn't bothered at all. Like he was like, yeah, you know what? It's about to happen. I don't really mind. He wasn't hiding how he was feeling. Jesus didn't hide how he was feeling at all. Jesus was honest about his feelings, because what he was about to go through was not easy. It was a painful death. He was carrying the weight of our sin. It was a painful experience. God would turn his face away from his own son, which is, again, a heartbreaking moment to experience. And all these things are so, so painful. And Jesus was asking, actually, God, is there a different way that this broken friendship, this broken relationship with humanity that was caused by our sin and our mistakes, is there any way that you can fix this without me having to die? Is there any other way? Because this is going to hurt. And God, Jesus was honest. And a lot of us like to think of Jesus as never having any issues. We forget the part that he was actually human. He dealt with emotions. He dealt with stress, just like we did. And this is what it said he said. This is what happened. It said, listen to the next verse. It said this. And he prayed more fervently, and he was in such of spirit that his sweat fell to the ground. Now, other translations even go on to say that he was so stressed out in his prayer, and he was praying to God with such desperation of God, if this is the way. And when he was saying that prayer, he started to sweat blood. There's a condition where you're so stressed out that your blood vessels will actually burst, and you have to start to sweat blood. That's how intense the prayer was that Jesus was saying to God. He was like, God, if there's any other way, I know that this friendship, I know that humans, all of us humans, they're going to go to hell if they don't fix the relationship. They're all going to die. They're not going to know you if this doesn't happen. But if there's any other way, please show it to me. And he was honest with God. He was desperate. He was stressed. And when Jesus faced a hard time, he didn't hide how he felt. He laid it all down before God. And what I love about this verse, and before we dive into the next part, he said, can we go back to the last verse one more time? He said, let your will be done. God, do what you want to do, though, at the end of the day. I'm still saying my prayer to you. I'm still laying down my heart to you. But you do what you have to do through me, and I'll do what you want. I'll do it. And God told him, you know what? This is the only way. So he still went on that cross. He still was beaten and arrested. He still died a painful death. And he still came back 3 days later to restore that friendship with us. Jesus trusted Father God with his feelings, and he shared them with him. He wasn't worried that God was going to judge him or get angry with him, because he knew God loved him. And he knew God was going to be there with him and guide him in those hard times. Now guys, part of trusting God is being honest with him. Part of trusting your best friends that you guys have isn't hiding your emotions from them, but it's part of being honest with them. That's the important part of these friendships. God doesn't want you guys to lie to him. God doesn't want you guys to pull up and pray to him and God, everything is great today, thank you so much, and you're dealing with other emotions. Maybe you're embarrassed to talk about it. Maybe you're too scared to open up about these feelings because it might be a can of worms. But it's important to talk through these feelings, especially with God, because he wants to help you through those things. He wants to help you deal with those moments. He wants to give you strength. He wants to guide you. And he wants to make sure that you're not going through it alone. God's always going to be by your side to help you guys grow stronger in these times. Now, it doesn't mean that your problems go away like that. It doesn't mean that things are fixed, but it means you're not alone and that you can still share your heart with someone. You don't have to be afraid to share what you're dealing with. And then here's the thing. The same way that Jesus was praying to God in the garden, the same way he was being honest and transparent, God invites us into that same friendship today. And there's one thing, just one thing I need us to do. The one application. There's no other points, no 2, 3, or 4, just one thing. Be real with God. Everyone say, be real with God.
Be real with God.
That's the only point for today. That's it. There's no 2 or 3. Be transparent about how you feel. Share your heart with him. Because he wants to hear your heart and help you step through every single part of it. And here's the thing, for those of you guys who are saying that God already knows how you feel, imagine that one friend that you guys have that something's clearly bothering them. And you know that they're bothered. Maybe you even know what it is that's bothering them. Maybe their feelings are hurt. And you see them and you ask them, hey, how are you? And then you say, yeah, it's fine, it's nothing. How does that make you feel? It's like, dang, I want them to share, I want them to get better. That's how God feels about each and every one of you guys. When you're dealing with these emotions, when you're holding these things in, God doesn't want you to hold it in. Just because he knows what you're dealing with doesn't mean he wants you to not talk to him about it. So bring everything to him in this time. Let's say a prayer. God, thank you so much for the fact that you're here with us in this time. If there's anyone here in this time that has something you're holding on to in your heart, I want us to feel the courage to share it with God. Open up your heart to him in this time. Just let him know what it is. God, I'm praying that whatever it is that's on their mind, that they're sharing with you, whatever it is that they're dealing with, whether it's a family issue, whether it's stress from school, whether it's financial issues, whatever it is, God, I'm praying that you help us to remember that you are in control. But also, God, the fact that you want to hear our hearts, God. You don't want us to be perfect, God. You want us to be open with you, God. Help us not to fake perfection, God. Help us not to lie to you. Help us not to lie to ourselves, God, but help us to allow you to work through us in this time. Jesus, I pray that you take over, God. Help us to be real with you. In Jesus' name. And everyone said?
Amen.